The year is 2026, and the housing market is not just faltering, it's in freefall. The collapse is officially underway, a full-blown crisis echoing the haunting melodies of 2008, but with a new, terrifying verse. We're not merely observing a gentle decline in property values, we're witnessing the agonizing unraveling of entire local economies, communities suffocating under the weight of their own inflated worth. The most alarming aspect, the pervasive denial. A vast majority clings to the naive belief that this is but a temporary blip, a minor correction. This delusion, this financially fatal miscalculation, will extract a heavy toll. Prepare yourself to confront the stark reality. We are about to dissect the downfall of 10 major metropolitan areas, where home values aren't just dipping their toes in troubled waters. They are being swallowed whole, plummeting by a staggering 50% to 80%. This 5,500-word manifesto will serve as your field guide to this economic disaster zone. We will pinpoint where the speculative bubble finally ruptured, explore the grim reasons why countless homeowners find themselves hopelessly shackled to unsellable properties, and dissect how the hallowed American dream has been brutally repossessed by the merciless forces of crippling debt and unrelenting external cost compression. If you own a home within these vulnerable markets, or even dare to contemplate buying into them, consider this your essential briefing. This is the information that could be the difference between solvency and financial ruin. The time for burying your head in the sand is long gone. The moment of agonizing financial reckoning has arrived. 2. The Florida Financial Horror Show. Climate risk and debt collide. Florida, once relentlessly marketed as a sun-drenched paradise where financial freedom blossomed alongside orange groves, now stands as ground zero for the housing cataclysm. The culprit? A lethal cocktail of soaring, non-negotiable insurance expenses and crushing, storm-related debt. The dream of coastal bliss has transformed into a lead weight dragging homeowners to the depths. 1. Naples, Florida. The luxury collapse and insurance shock. Naples, the opulent bastion of the idealized Florida lifestyle, now welcomes visitors with a jarring dose of financial whiplash. At the zenith of the market frenzy in 2022, the average home price in this enclave reached an astounding $1.1 million. Now, many of those same lavish properties struggle to attract bids even reaching half that exorbitant. Certain high-end condominium complexes have seen their valuations decimated, plunging by a gut-wrenching 80% or more. The root cause is the lingering devastation wrought by a series of increasingly severe storms, most notably Hurricane Ian, which shattered the illusion of Naples as an invulnerable real estate sanctuary. Rebuilding expenses have skyrocketed into the stratosphere, pushing insurance companies to their breaking point. Premiums in Collier County have tripled since 2023. Homeowners recount horror stories of annual insurance payments leaping from a manageable $3.200 to a crippling $11, zero or higher for even modest homes, and that's if they can even secure coverage at all. Citizens Property Insurance, the state's so-called insurer of last resort, now maintains an extensive waiting list, a stark testament to the pervasive desperation rippling through the community. The countless gated communities, meticulously manicured and landscaped, demand exorbitant HOA fees often exceeding $800 per month, compounded by unpredictable special assessments levied for ongoing repairs and upgrades. Property taxes, stubbornly clinging to inflated boom time valuations, add another layer of financial agony. The luxury market is teetering on the brink, clinging to life support as foreign investors pull out and baby boomers desperately attempt to unload vacation homes before they become liabilities. Naples serves as a grim reminder that the long-term financial stability of the coastal fantasy has been permanently sacrificed at the altar of swaying palm trees and shimmering beaches. 2. Cape Coral, Florida, the 44% inventory and debt tumble. Cape Coral, once the poster child for Florida's explosive growth and sun-kissed prosperity, now embodies its equally spectacular downfall. The median home price has plummeted from a lofty $465,000 to a more sobering $160, zero in less than 2 years. a staggering 44% decline, showing no signs of bottoming out. The insurance crisis here transcends mere inconvenience. It's an existential threat. Homeowners are being summarily dropped by their insurers, and renewal notices often reveal annual premiums of $10,000 or more for houses barely worth $300. Appraisals are routinely coming in $120 below the original purchase price for those who bought at the peak of the market, transforming their dream homes into financial anchors chained to a hurricane-prone zone. Residents find themselves trapped in overpriced homes they can't sell, watching their property values sink to subterranean levels, while simultaneously facing insurance bills that rival monthly car payments. Houses linger on the market for 6 months or longer, gathering dust and despair. Price reductions are the norm, often amounting to catastrophic financial amputations. Consider this: a canal front home initially listed for $899 in early 2020 ultimately sold for a mere $420,000 just 6 months later. A clearance sale of epic proportions. Cape Coral has become a place where the combined burden of insurance, repairs, and pervasive uncertainty outweighs every other consideration. 3. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Speculation's financial regret. Myrtle Beach, the quintessential coastal vacation destination, has witnessed home values plummet by more than 45% since 2023. This is the devastating aftermath of a frenzied gold rush fueled by investors who treated beach condos and vacation rentals as if they were guaranteed investment vehicles. The market became grotesquely oversaturated, with far more rental units than tourists to fill them. Short-term rentals sit vacant, bleeding cash, while HOAs hemorrhage their reserves at an alarming rate. The influx of tourists simply isn't sufficient to support the mountain of mortgages shouldered by investors and homeowners alike. Owners are not only losing vast sums in equity, but are also burdened with exorbitant HOA fees for buildings in a state of disrepair. The insurance crisis has morphed into a full-blown horror show. The rising frequency and intensity of hurricane activity, coupled with escalating flood risks, have driven insurance premiums up by a staggering 60% in just 18 months. Insurance carriers are abandoning the market faster than beachgoers fleeing a shark sighting. Homeowners are ensnared, forced to choose between selling at a crippling loss or clinging to a rapidly sinking money pit. Adding insult to injury, new developments continue to be approved, stacking rows of identical houses along the shoreline like precarious sandcastles, all desperately hoping to cash out before the next storm strikes. The tech bust and urban exodus, mistaken growth. The very tech and lifestyle-centric cities that experienced the most breathtaking growth during the remote work boom are now enduring the most brutal and rapid corrections, as the cold reality of crippling debt and pervasive job insecurity sinks in. 4. San Francisco, California, the 55% ghost city drop. San Francisco, once the gleaming crown jewel of the tech revolution, is now a fog-shrouded, hollowed-out shell of its former self. The median home price has plummeted from a staggering $1.6 million to just under $900 in less than 3 years, a devastating 55% drop across many neighborhoods. But plummeting prices are only half the story. Remote work has become entrenched, leaving downtown San Francisco feeling like a perpetually unfinished movie set, with empty office towers casting long shadows over vacant condos. Even a Whole Foods market, a symbol of urban vitality, couldn't survive for a full year before surrendering to the chaos. People who once proudly paid $2 million for cramped Victorian condos are now facing the agonizing realization that their homes are worth perhaps half that amount. And while property values plummet, expenses remain stubbornly high. Property taxes continue their relentless climb, and HOA letters demand exorbitant fees for buildings that are often aging and poorly maintained. Insurance is a constant source of anxiety, with wildfire zones encroaching ever closer and insurers fleeing the market en masse. Many homeowners are finding themselves abruptly stripped of their coverage. The toxic combination of political gridlock, rampant crime, and exorbitant costs has spurred a mass exodus of long-time residents, leaving the market defined by a palpable retreat of both wealth and confidence. 5. Austin, Texas, the 33% economic hangover. Austin is grappling with the harsh hangover of an economic party that ended far too soon. The median home price has slid from a peak of approximately $575,000 to just below $385,000, a decline of roughly 33%. And the slide continues. Mass layoffs at major tech firms have transformed once glittering downtown towers into echoing glass monuments to shattered dreams. Mortgage rates, stubbornly hovering above 7%, instantly froze the buying frenzy. Suddenly, nobody wants to shell out close to $1 million for a shoddily constructed house. Homes are languishing on the market for 4 to 6 months or longer. Price cuts are ubiquitous. One new construction, initially listed for $799,000, is now advertised at a desperate $499,000 and still sits unsold. The HOA letters remain active and relentlessly costly, even for buildings that are half empty. Insurance costs are steadily creeping upward due to record-breaking heat waves, and Texas's notoriously unreliable electricity grid adds another layer of risk and uncertainty. The migration pattern that once brought a steady stream of new residents and investment is now flowing in reverse as people seek more affordable and stable pastures. The city once hailed as the next great tech mecca is now learning a painful lesson about what happens when growth expectations fatally outpace economic reality. 6. Salt Lake City, Utah, the 40% hype collapse. Salt Lake City experienced an unprecedented price explosion between 2020 and 2022, with values surging by more than 75%. Since then, however, the market has been crashing with equal ferocity. Prices have already fallen by over 40%, plummeting from a high of $620,000 to around $365. Zero in many areas. The collapse was triggered by a classic case of hype overload. A wave of California tech workers, flush with remote salaries, descended upon the city, bidding up prices for everything from housing to avocado toast. Then reality intervened. Interest rates soared, tech layoffs cascaded through the industry, and those same out-of-state buyers are now desperately posting listings with increasingly urgent and motivating language. The rental market isn't faring any better, with apartment complexes handing out 3 months of free rent just to lure in tenants. Insurance costs are steadily rising thanks to the ever-present threat of wildfires and the largely ignored risks associated with earthquakes. Salt Lake City, once touted as a hidden gem, is now an overbuilt, overpriced snow globe with a cracked base, suffering the predictable financial consequences of unsustainable external investment. 7. Boise, Idaho, the 50% escape trap. Boise, the supposed sanctuary for those seeking refuge from exorbitant housing costs in larger metropolitan areas, ironically managed to recreate the very same mess and is now watching its former residents beat a hasty retreat. Home values have fallen by nearly 50%, with the median price plummeting from around $540 to roughly $285,000. Practically everyone who bought in the past few years overpaid, often significantly. The promised tech jobs never materialized to support the inflated market, leaving Boise saddled with Los Angeles-level prices, but Idaho-sized paychecks. Entire subdivisions of brand-new homes are now facing foreclosure or selling for devastating losses. One buyer reportedly burned through a staggering $180,000 attempting to flip a modern farmhouse. Renters aren't catching a break either. While rents are falling, vacancy signs are plastered everywhere. Insurance costs have skyrocketed after consecutive wildfire scares. The city rushed headlong into an infrastructure boom it simply cannot afford, and the result is a glut of empty houses and a cloud of resentment, thicker than butter melting on a hot skillet. 8. Las Vegas, Nevada, the 60% rental gamble failure. In Las Vegas, the housing gamble has failed spectacularly. The median price has plunged from roughly $475,000 to just under $180,000. A jaw-dropping 60% collapse. Short-term rentals sit empty, gathering dust. Tourism has cooled off. And the casino workers, who are the lifeblood of the city, can barely afford to stay afloat, let alone own a home. Insurance prices have skyrocketed thanks to brutal heat waves and ongoing water shortages. Nevada is facing historic drought conditions that threaten the very foundations of its economy. New construction zones on the outskirts of the city are littered with half-finished houses, abandoned after developers ran out of buyers. The backbone of Vegas, the hospitality workers, face wages that have stubbornly refused to keep pace with soaring housing costs. Even after the recent market corrections, Las Vegas has built its reputation on reinvention and resilience. But this market reset is forcing a brutal financial calculation. The actual houses are the ones taking the beating this time around. 9. Phoenix, Arizona, the 50% dehydration chamber. In Phoenix, the relentless heat provides the perfect backdrop for watching your home value evaporate faster than the plastic on your car's dashboard. Property values have taken a nosedive of almost 50% since the peak of the market in 2022, with the median price now clinging to roughly $315,000. The boom phase was characterized by utter chaos. California buyers flooded into the city, snapping up everything in sight, and flippers pounced on any property that wasn't nailed down. When interest rates shot up, the entire enthusiasm train derailed in spectacular fashion. Homes are now sitting on the market for 5 to 6 months or longer. Sellers are increasingly forced to accept offers well below last year's asking prices, often including massive concessions and incentives. Wildfire-prone areas are creeping ever closer to established neighborhoods, and Arizona's already strained water supply continues to dwindle. Electric companies are hiking rates, forcing homeowners to pay hundreds of dollars a month just to avoid collapsing from heat stroke. Phoenix, once marketed as a sun-soaked paradise, now feels more like a financial dehydration chamber. The systemic crash accelerants. The market collapse unfolding across these 10 cities is not a random occurrence. It is the manifestation of a profound structural failure, accelerated by the convergence of crippling debt costs, escalating climate risks, and the collapse of the once compelling migration narrative. A. Catastrophic negative equity and debt shock. The widespread price plunges 50% in San Francisco, 60% in Las Vegas have triggered a catastrophic negative equity crisis. Countless homeowners are now locked into properties where the outstanding mortgage balance exceeds the current market value, effectively preventing them from selling or refinancing. This devastating debt shock, compounded by stubbornly high interest rates, all but guarantees that any potential recovery will be agonizingly slow and protracted. B. The external cost paralysis. The single most destructive factor fueling this crisis is the external cost paralysis, caused by skyrocketing insurance premiums and escalating climate risks. Annual premiums of $8,000 to $11. Zero, as seen in Cape Coral and Naples, are non-negotiable fixed costs that utterly destroy the fundamental math of affordability, regardless of the home's initial purchase price. This makes homeownership financially irrational in exposed regions and virtually guarantees sustained market depression. C. The speculative overhang and builder retreat. The boom was largely fueled by speculative overinvestment, driven by flippers and short-term rental operators seeking to cash in on the frenzy. The subsequent inventory glut, particularly evident in the outskirts of Las Vegas and Boise, is overwhelming already weakened buyer demand. Desperate to liquidate their toxic inventory, builders are offering extreme incentives and discounts, which systematically resets comparable values at lower levels across entire neighborhoods, further depressing the market. The market cannot begin to recover until the excess, financially distressed inventory is absorbed. The reclamation and call to action. The 2026 housing downturn is a full-scale, severe reset, mercilessly exposing the profound fragility of America's most celebrated markets. Our journey through these 10 cities has confirmed a clear and undeniable pattern. The toxic combination of unsustainable speculative growth, debilitating debt costs, and irreversible climate risks has conspired to create a catastrophic financial crisis. If you are contemplating buying in one of these exposed markets, it is imperative that you meticulously calculate the true total cost of ownership. This includes factoring in non-negotiable insurance premiums, the long-term implications of climate risk, the likely trajectory of property taxes, and the stability of your job. While the panic is palpable and the risks are undeniable, the discounts are also very real, and the leverage has overwhelmingly shifted in favor of the buyer. The time for passively waiting for the market to gently return to normal is long over. The moment for strategic, informed action has arrived. Seize the discount, own the leverage, reclaim the American dream at a catastrophic bargain.